trying to figure out what makes all of the man that is Terry Crews, and there is so much there. You've really been making the most of the one life you got.
Oh, dude, I just do what I love, man. I learned that
Terry
a long
Crews is
time
that
ago
nigga.
because, coming up in Flint, Michigan, you were you either worked at the factory or you didn't. And so I was like, man, I can't do this I can't be stuck over there. So I just said, I have to do as many things as I can possibly do. Whatever I love, I decided I was going to do.
Have you thought about your last meal before?
No, I never did. But once I knew I was coming on this, actually, there were so many choices. I think I gave you guys like 5 or 6 because. What can I say? I can't imagine just having one last meal. I just can't. It's like it would have to be a whole cornucopia of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Jay, we have a cornucopia of literally everything that you asked for. We are putting together the largest last meals in history, and it's just you and me, and we got to take it all down, man.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. We can die tomorrow, right? Is that it?
We might. Life's
I might
not
die
certain.
today. I don't know. Let's see.
Terry, for the first of 6 courses today, we have the creamy rock shrimp. This is tempura fried, a little bit of a spicy mayonnaise with yuzu in there. We have the spicy tuna on crispy rice. We have miso black cod, and then we have a simple salad with a little bit of edamame, some citrus, and fennel in there. Man, please dig in and tell me all about it.
Okay, man. Listen, I've been waiting for this. I got to start with my creamy rock. Listen, first of all, you got to understand the thing about this meal. This is my Nobu special, right? And I would go to New York and I would be like, oh, one day I'll be able to go to Nobu. And then once things started to really click for me, and I'll never forget, my wife and I were in New York, and it was a little bit after White Chicks had really started to take off. And what was so nuts is that I remember they played my scene in the car with Marlon in Times Square, and we were flipping out. Oh, thank you. I'm gonna grab a couple of these. I'm gonna grab a couple of these.
Go for it, man.
Thank you. Oh my God.
We got more in back too, Terry. Don't hold back here. Jump it in.
And I took my wife.
Oh yeah, I
We
know
went to
that shit
Nobu,
good.
and they knew who I was. And then they escorted me up the stairs, and I had my table, and this was the meal that I had.
Man.
And I always have this meal.
You mentioned growing up in Flint. You were part of the Greater Holy Temple Church of God in Christ.
Yes.
And you said that there was no movies, no secular music, no dancing, and that food was your only indulgence.
Yes.
Is that why you have such a strong connection to food?
We would go to church probably 5-6 times a week.
Dang.
But it was everything we had to do because it was our entertainment, it was our lessons, it was everything. But then we would go late. I remember being a kid, there was a supper club called Wally's. And dude, there would be a huge spread out at literally 11:45 p.m.
Jeez.
And your hamburgers, hot dogs, and Wally's was kind of like this, it was basically like a Cheesecake Factory-ish. So you could have everything. And dude, people would eat like champions.
But especially when you're like depriving people of so many other things, then that one thing becomes so important to you.
Yeah.
And you start like tethering that to positive emotions.
And this is another thing. I was an artist and I was an athlete. But either world didn't accept me. So I would go to football practice and they would be like, hey man, you gotta quit all that paint stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I go to art class, like, hey, you gotta quit all that football stuff. And so I was like, why? I ain't quit either one.
It sounds like you were always caught in this conflict between two worlds, right? Being like the artist and the athlete, growing up in this very heavy church and then not necessarily feeling the belief. Did you ever actually feel comfortable as a kid?
No,
Yeah.
no. I was scared.
And-
I spent a lot of
and he had
time
an
very,
abusive
very
dad?
afraid. Growing up in the church that I did, the thing was, everything will send you to hell. So there is a concept of the rapture. And the rapture is when Jesus come back and he's going to take the saints and it's going to disappear. And the whole point was you don't want to get caught and left behind, right? So that was used as a manipulative tool in a lot of ways to get kids grounded. They're like, hey man, Jesus is coming back and he's going to catch you. That was almost like a boogeyman. You know what I mean? It was almost like, and if you get left behind, oh my God, the devil's gonna have you, and you were scared.
Some kids
straight.
like Michael Myers, you had Jesus.
Oh man, right. And that's really wild because it doesn't. You're supposed to look at, religion and God as a good thing, but I looked at it as like, oh my God, he's trying to catch me.
Yeah.
You know, so I spent all my time scared. Let me tell you, one time when I was in church and I fell asleep. And I'll never forget, I woke up and all the pews were empty. And everyone was gone.
No.
And I went, no! No! Listen, I'm a kid, man. You gotta understand, this is the way they kept us straight. And I went, no, I missed it. I missed it. It happened. And I'm gone. And dude, I'm screaming like, no, and I'm running. And no one's anywhere. Everyone was in the basement eating. Everyone was in the basement. My mother was like, I'm right here, man. And I was like, oh my God, I thought you were gone. I thought everybody was gone. That's still, that memory right now,
That's
like it
fucked
happened
up.
yesterday.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
That's how pivotal it was.
That's
Like I
fucked
couldn't, it was just the panic. And I spent so much time afraid. And then Charles Manson was out. The whole Charles Manson thing. They
Yeah,
were like,
Jesus
he's got a
coming
cross
for
on
you
his
and
head.
Charles Manson.
He can open doors with his eyes. I believed it all.
Yeah.
I believed it all. And it was crazy because I remember Helter Skelter was the movie that was out on television. And I was like, and I was so scared that Charles Manson was gonna come kill me. You know, well, not only Jesus, but Charles Manson, because Charles Manson looked like Jesus,
Yeah.
which was
He
kind
did.
of crazy. So I got them all conflated together.
It's so easy to laugh at now, but also at the time, like,
I'm a kid,
you're
dude.
a kid, yeah.
I'm a child. And when you talk this kind of stuff, you have to explain yourself. But there was not a lot of explanation. I mean, like, this is our therapy session for today, John.
Hey, man,
I didn't
Terry.
go. I'm here crying
Listen.
over our last meal, man.
Listen, man, we got shrimp. Charles Manson can't hurt you.
No, it's over.
Terry, for
I
course
know what
number
Charles
2,
Manson
we
looks
got the baby back ribs right here, a little bit of pickled veg on the side, a cornbread muffin, some extra sauce. We got the barbecue baked beans, and then, of course, some collard greens cooked down with some smoked turkey neck in there.
Oh,
This is
I'm
dessert
going
for the
in.
first course.
I'm going in. First, I gotta add some of these beans right here. This is one of my childhood favorite meals. You have to understand why. Again, we're going back to the Midwest, okay? And by going back to the Midwest, we have to talk about a theme park called Cedar Point. Anybody who knows about Cedar Point, I heard that. Woo!
Studio audience is live today.
See, listen, Cedar Point is the bomb, right? Because we were so far from Disneyland, you ain't getting there. So far from Disney World, no way. And nothing, oh, look at the sauce, man. Oh my God, nothing
Don't
like
follow collard greens. Man,
my
all I
uncle.
gotta say,
Oh my God, this is so good.
Oh, God, fam.
You know, everybody in every family had a reservation.
Damn, I'm trying to switch screens. Hey, y'all follow with collard greens?
I fuck with you.
Do you follow with collard greens though?
Hell no.
Do you follow with
What'd he
collard
say?
greens?
Don't ask this nigga what he fuck with, bro.
Do you fuck
D,
with
you don't fuck with
That
collard
nigga,
greens.
that
either.
nigga, that
You
nigga
know
eat
you
baby
D,
food
D.
and shit.
D, you know you don't fuck with collard greens.
greens?
Bro, collard greens aren't bad, man.
Yo, please, D,
They the
please
bomb
stop.
diggity type shit.
D,
Nigga don't have no
D.
grandma. Nigga don't have,
D.
bro. It's not our fault that your people don't know how to cook, gang.
Nigga, what?
Wherever you was going for your food.
I've tried multiple people's collard greens, bro. I've gave it a chance.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
good.
it.
Well, come try
bro.
mine. Come try mine.
Yeah, you
Okay,
trying,
ass out of here,
you
bro.
trying them weak ass.
Punk ass collard greens, y'all niggas trying, bro. Nah, nigga, get y'all ass out of here, bro.
Resident.
You don't trust
Barbecue
Roman
expert.
taste buds,
Expert.
nigga?
So he
Roman
would
the
come
last
by
buds
the
you
day
want to
before,
agree with.
knowing we were going to Cedar Point. And he would barbecue these ribs. He had this special sauce, special smoke. He would smoke this sauce, the whole thing. And my aunt would make the side. She had the baked beans, she had the greens, she had the cornbread. The whole plan was never to buy food in the park.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we already knew. Ain't good. Don't ask, because we ain't paying for none of that. We bought the tickets. And so we bought those on coupons.
Hey,
And
you're
I
drinking
remember-
out of the water fountain.
You know what I mean? Right.
Yep.
And it was like, no, whatever you see out here, don't worry about it, because we bring in the food. And man, it was one of the best memories ever. Like no church, it was like fun, all the coasters, all the rides. And then the family would all get together between noon and 1. We break this out. I had a Cedar Point t-shirt. And I'll never forget the day I ruined it because my uncle asked me to move the grill after he done cooking because we were going the next day. And I kept the freaking t-shirt on because I was gonna wake up in it so I could just jump in the car. And I put the grill next to my shirt and I put it down and it has all these sauce lines all over it. I was like, no! And you can't get barbecue sauce out of
That's done.
a white Cedar Point t-shirt.
That shirt's called a rag now.
Yeah, it was right, exactly.
That's obviously such like an incredible happy memory from childhood, but also you say that you were sort of constantly scared and you felt powerless. How do you like hold those two truths at the same time? Like, do you ever feel yourself getting so negatively tinged by your childhood that sort of ruins the positive memories?
It's the sin of comparison.
Yeah.
When you're comparing yourself to other people, you go, oh man, I didn't know it was bad. But when you're young, you don't know you're poor.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to do anything. Like I wasn't allowed to play sports, wasn't allowed to go to the movies or anything like that, but I was allowed to draw. And what I would do is sit in my room and people would tell me about movies. And then I would draw what I thought the movies were.
Did you make accurate predictions?
No. They were all over the place, right? I would literally make movie posters and do all this. I never forget because I wasn't allowed to see it, but I love it. And when I finally did see it, it was phenomenal. It was Alien. Because Alien came out around 1979, around that time. And I just remember the commercial and I was like, oh my God. So I started drawing what I thought the alien looked like because I didn't know. My mother was very disturbed. She's like, that's some demons in there. Like, and people in school were like, Derek, what's wrong with you? You know, I had a lot of blood and weird stuff in there, but I was like, this is what the movie is, right? And I'm a biggest nerd you could ever imagine just because of my imagination. It forced me to imagine everything.
Also, like, I don't think it's corny to be really excited about things. I think that's something that a lot of, especially young people, are taught that it's corny to be excited, but I don't think it is at all. I also want to talk about the idea of like those hardships actually spurring someone towards success,
Yes.
which of course can be true,
Yes.
but then there's the flip side of that, of you still feeling like you have those hardships after you've reached the success.
Yep.
So like, how do you actually learn how to enjoy that?
I just wasn't thankful for what I had. It was always like, yeah, but I'm not there. I'm not there when I get there.
Was that just overcompensating for you thinking that you like needed to have that wall up?
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was because it's like even in the religion stuff, you're not there. You know what I mean? It's like when you go to heaven, you know, you still ain't. You could all fall apart at every minute.
It's always when.
So it's always the feeling like anything could fall apart at any second. So when me and my wife went through a whole bunch, man. Like,
Hey Coco, which ribs are
we
better?
basically
Pork ribs
broke
or
up.
beef ribs?
and it was a whole big deal. And this was after we had been married 20 years.
Which one do you like better?
But I was so like focused on just career, and I'm not there now. And once we rebuilt our marriage, I started to understand like, oh wow, you have to enjoy this stuff while it's here.
Yeah.
So as the kids started getting older and moving out, I was like, oh, I think I missed the time with them. Like the first one's gone, and the second one started leaving, and then the third one's gone, and you go, oh my God, like I don't know if I really enjoyed while they were here. That's a scary feeling.
Especially because you probably convinced yourself that it was for them when you probably knew damn well it was for you
It was
the
for
whole
me.
time. Yeah.
And they knew it was for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the thing. They were like, okay, yeah, sure, Dad. Somebody got to pay for all this, you know, that kind of thing. But they're like, we just wanted to be with you.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't care what it was. Because again, it's the sin of comparison again. You know what I mean? Like, when I was a kid, I didn't have this. So I'm going to give you all these things. But they're like, but Dad, we just want you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wait a minute. And that took some years, dude. And my wife was always telling me the whole time, like, you need to just chill and you need to be with them. But I was always explaining to her, no, but what happened if we don't have this? She said, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
She's a smart lady, man. That's one reason why I'm still here. I'd be dead without her. I ain't gonna lie to you
Hey,
right
man,
now.
cheers to having smart women in our lives.
That's it, man. That's it.
Hey.
That's it.
Terry, for our course number 3, healthy interlude, we have the grilled broccolini
really
with a
simple
grilled
beef
bison
ribs.
ribeye, finished with a little bit of grass-fed butter. We got the baked sweet potato, and then we have a panoply of smoothies. We have the peanut butter, we have the berry, we have the citrus, and then we have the strawberry. And look at him
No,
dance.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. My muscles were talking to me.
I couldn't hear myself. I was staring.
First of all, Josh, this, you have to understand something about this. This meal is my first like staple, official, like I'm going to get healthy meal. Okay? This is bison. But I found the less processed this meat was, the better it was for you. You know what I mean? And it was so rich and iron and whole thing. First time I ever had it, I'll never forget, it was like a Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the whole thing, and it was just like, oh my God, this meat is so good. Oh, and it's done perfectly.
You're
First
turning
of all,
me on to
it's hard
bison,
to
man.
burn it
Yeah.
because it always stays, look at that, it always stays juicy and delicious. When I retired from NFL, I got tremendously out of shape because as a football player, that was my whole life. I retired, we moved to LA. I was like, I'm gonna try to get into the industry and the whole thing. But I was so depressed. I used to just sit on the couch and eat pecan sandies. That was my thing, man. Oh, it's the worst. Like
They're
each
dry
one of-
too, man.
Oh yeah, with a big glass of milk.
Nice.
But they're so dry. And I gained 50 pounds overweight. I mean, I was like, and my wife came up behind me. She was in the mirror, and she pinched my back fat. Like, whoa. And I was like, whoa, what are you doing? Whoa. And she was like, oh no, it's okay, honey. You're just cute. It's cute. I was like, this ain't cute. What are you talking about? Don't touch me like that. I'm trying to tell you, like, I had no reason, because I had still seen myself like this super fit guy. And she was like, it's cute. I love you anyway. I was like, don't stop playing with me. I mean,
your
angry.
wake-up call, yeah.
Angry. And she was like, damn. So just calm down, right? Went to the gym. And I told the guy at the counter, I was like, I'm going to work out here. He goes, great. That'll be $100, and then it's like $20 a month. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm going to work out here. He said, yeah. You have to understand, Josh, I never paid to work out.
Yeah.
In my life. In my life.
Yeah.
Literally, from high school all the way up through college to the pros, you just go to the gym. And I'm like, you paying? Like, you want me to pay? And it hit me. I was like, I have to pay? So I paid. And then I went and got on a recumbent bike and read a magazine. And in literally 10 minutes. And then I put it down and I went home. You gotta do your baby steps, baby, just little bitty things. And I also got into smoothies during this time. You know what I mean?
I feel like smoothies were new back then, too.
Yeah.
We didn't always have smoothies.
Dude, there was no Jamba Juice. You know what I mean? This is all brand new. I remember people were like, smoothies, this is the way you can get your calories in and have your protein and do it. It's a meal and it's a drink. That's how old I am. Because people didn't smoothie. There was no smoothie. It was like either ice cream or water. That
You were
was
riding a horse to the gym.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's up? So, and let me taste this one.
Them claps are crazy.
Peanut butter. Oh. I love peanut butter, man.
Got a little Greek yogurt in there.
Whoa, with the Greek yogurt. Dude, look at that. I feel the muscles just building. Look at
I gotta
that.
really cut.
That's that.
No,
Oh,
no,
there you go,
Jack,
Josh. No, you got it.
I gotta work it.
Dude, this is some healthy fat, healthy protein. The Greek yogurt is great probiotic.
I want to ask you about how you first started working out, though, because you were 11 years old, and you said you'd be doing crunches so obsessively that your stomach started to cramp.
Yep.
A lot of people might start working out to get dates, but you were working out to kill your father.
Yeah.
Very different.
Listen, my father was very abusive. One of my earliest memories was him knocking my mother out.
Dang.
I was at 5 years old. He worked in a factory, and he worked all day. And we would go. I remember leaving at 1. He would work second shift. We'd leave at 1. He would come home around 11 after his night at the bar. And man, they would fight. And my mother was screaming, and he, haul off, and don't make me do this, don't make me, and then pow! And then I would never forget walking out and seeing her on the ground, knocked out, and he's like, look what you made me do. And so I looked at him, and I'm going, oh boy, okay. Remember, as a young man, you start to realize there's certain things you just start to get immediately. I'm like, this is your world. You can do that to her. You say you love her. You say you love me too. But dude, you just did that to her? Well, I mean, that's a grown woman.
Yeah.
What you gonna do to me?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey man, it's your world, brother. Like, I just didn't want to get that punch. Because you gotta understand, my father, the way he walked around the house, it was like boom, boom. It was like Godzilla. And I remember on the news, you know, because the news was not a little different, but at nightly news, it was only the big stuff that got on. You know, it wasn't like 24-hour news. So they was like, man kills entire family. I was like, my father could do that. He could do that.
Yeah. Did you think could or would?
It was a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Some days it would be like, would he? But he definitely was could he.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? The question, there was no question he could. So I was like, all right, I gotta protect my mother and I gotta protect myself. So as a little kid, man, I was out there. We had, this is back in the day, and there, at the end of, one thing my parents did let me do was comic books. At the end of the comic books, they would have these little books about, tired of getting sand kicked in your face? It was a little cartoon that was like, and it would show a guy at the beach getting this thing. And it's a little workout number where you could get, learn how to get muscles.
Man, the pre-internet days.
It was that little thing. And me and my brother wrote the little address they had on there. And I think it was like you had to send like $1 or something. I put $1 in the envelope. And we got this book back that had these drawings of exercises. Like, this is how hard it was. There was no gyms back then. I remember the exercises were, and this is dynamic tension, right? Those they would draw how you sit against a wall, and me and my brother.
How much money you paid?
Like $1, right?
What the fuck?
But your leg, but yeah, $1 back then was like $10 now.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like $20 now, to be honest. I said, if this works doing it once, it's got to work better doing it 4 times.
Yeah.
So what I And this is the thing, when I went home for Christmas, we call this a Christmas from hell. So I said, dude, I told him never, but fitness, at the end of, one thing my parents did let me do was how you sit against a wall, and me and my brother.
How much money you paid?
What I do was just keep doing it over and over, and then I learned about dynamic tension with the Bruce Lee book, and then so I was like, I'm gonna tense up to the point where, and then all of a sudden, things would cramp, and muscles would go, oh, this is why you get the peak on top of the peak. Because I was like, ah! And my mother was like, what is going on? But fitness, it was one of my things because I did feel like I had to protect my family.
Yeah.
I did feel like I had to protect my mom. And let me tell you, man, it kind of came to a head when I actually did beat up my father. But I was a grown man.
Yeah.
And it was kind of wild because
No one wants to do that.
He in my first real year in acting, and he hit my mother in the face. When me and my wife were headed to Detroit to go and visit some friends, and I get a call from my aunt, the same aunt that would take us to Cedar Point and the whole thing with my uncle.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God. She said, your dad just hit your mom. And I said, what? And I said, I'm a grown man, but I'm a grown ass man now. Like, and this is the thing. When I went home for Christmas, we call this a Christmas from hell. So I said, dude, I told him never to mess up. I said, dude, just don't trip, because my kids hadn't been around it, and my kids were shook, like they never seen that.
Yeah.
So I told him to get everybody out of the house, and it was just me and him, and I beat his ass for hours.
For hours?
Nothing.
Did you expect to feel something? Like, did you actually think that moment would lead to any sort of?
Hey man, this is it. This is the moment. This is what I trained for. This is what I wanted. This is like what I.
Hey, that's real. Nothing like a meat party.
I was like, how does it feel? How does it feel? And man, I felt nothing. Like, a man is never ever meant to hurt his parents.
Yeah.
No matter what they did. Now I'm no better than you. Like, where does it? When did? Like, there's no awards. There's no medals. There's no winners here.
Yeah.
And I left, and I never went back for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years. But there is a kind of a nice end to this, because once I went to therapy after my wife and I broke up and the whole thing, and I went to therapy for the first time. In my therapy, I discovered that I needed to just address what happened. But the way I had to do it, I had to find one thing that I was thankful for him for. And so I called him up and I said, man, I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful that you had me. Because if you didn't have me, I wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
That's a fact. And he said, he cried. He apologized. He was like, I'm sorry for what I did to you and your mom and the whole thing. Now, at the time, it was a wonderful moment when I realized how I could really be free was really forgiveness. And I've been free ever since, man. That's a deep memory, man, but it's amazing how food can take you there. You know
No,
what
true,
I mean?
man. I really appreciate you telling that
Oh,
story.
no, it's important. I think, especially guys like me who are into fitness and into these things, there's a reason why you're doing this.
Yeah.
I had a lot of insecurities, man. I was scared.
No, there's a deep pain that generally comes from it. And the want to be powerful only comes from the feeling of powerlessness that you started with.
Totally. And it started to hit me, man. I was like, oh, and I can deal with these things in the right way.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's good. So good, man.
Terry, we're moving into the more avant-garde section.
Yes!
We got the zucchini flan, we got the gazpacho with a little bit of crostini, we got crispy smashed potatoes, and then peri-peri chicken.
Yes.
Sir, tell me about it.
Okay, this is my world experience, okay? This is one of the things, my wife and I, we had the gazpacho in Italy. Once I started to travel for real, I'll never forget, my first movie was a movie called The Sixth Day with Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Oh, look at that. That cold
So fresh,
gazpacho,
right?
just so fresh
cold.
with the crostini.
Terry, stop with the smoothies and start drinking gazpacho.
I know, that's the deal. Just the idea of cold soup, I was like, huh? What? And then I had it.
Yeah.
And I was like, my life has changed forever. And then the peri-peri chicken is from South Africa. Oh my God, flame grilled. It's like a special thing. And it's,
Baked
you know, the
potato.
place they have is Nando's, is what they call it,
Yes.
Nando's.
There's
which
Nando's,
is-
and then now there's like 15 different imitators. They
Yeah.
got Bandos, they got Mandos.
Oh, that's good. But this is that flavor. Remember Kookaroo?
I do remember, I
Remember
grew up on Kookaroo, man.
Dude, I would go to Kookaroo probably 4 times a week.
Yeah.
That was a necessary thing, and then it went out of business. Then the zucchini flan. Me and my wife went on our 34th anniversary last year, and we
That's what I'm
went
trying to do.
to the south of France, and we had a chef, and he made zucchini flan. Now, the only way I had seen flan was like as a dessert.
Yeah. Did we get it right? Because we had no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah,
We
this
said
is
zucchini
good.
flan.
No, this is good. I said, oh my God, the fact that you could make this as a side dish, it's just so beautiful. And then we go into the smashed potatoes right here, man. One of my New York spots, Quality Meats, and they have the best potatoes in the world. And I love these smashed skillet potatoes. This is the indulgent meal. This is when you're like, we going big, and we ain't going home. You know what I mean? Oh,
I want to talk to you about power and like what it actually means, because you're obviously very powerful in stature. You speak very powerfully. You have a very powerful on-screen presence. You wrote a book about finding your true power. What are the things that people get wrong about it?
the phrase I like to use is, you telling everyone what to do does not make you the boss. You doing everything you told yourself to do makes you the boss.
Yeah.
Power is internal.
Yeah.
The whole thing is pointing the fingers at everybody else and never doing what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody gets caught. Because they go, hey, you just said to do this and you don't do it. You tell people to be on time and yet you're never on time.
Yeah.
The difference between some people is they feel like, well, they can say, I had no choice.
Yeah.
I had no choice. You know, I had to do this, I had to do that. I will never ever say that. On my dying day, if you put a gun to my head, I have a choice. This is last meals. I have a choice. The choice is, am I gonna live or am I gonna die? But it's still a choice.
Yeah.
Acknowledge your life is your choice. You see what I mean? That changed for me because there was a whole time when I was a victim. So things start to come from your choices. There's a choice on how I can deal with certain things. There's a choice if you get slighted. There's a choice on how you can handle these things. You can go off and feel like a victim, or you can say, you know what? They're wrong. I choose the higher ground.
Yeah.
And do it. Change my life forever. That's power. That's true power. It's not about anybody else. It's about me. It's about my world, me controlling everything about myself.
Yeah. And you have a great story about the Peri Peri Chicken when you were shooting in South Africa with Blended, where the original pitch for that Adam Sandler wrote, the character was like really disrespectful towards African culture.
Yes.
And you were faced with a choice at that moment, right?
Dude, I had to, first of all, the way it was written, I was like, Adam, hey man, can I talk to you? And he was like, yeah, sure, buddy. You know, man. Okay. Man, we're gonna be in trouble if I do this the way this is. I said, no, I can't. First of all, I'm not gonna do it that way.
Yeah.
So are you open to ideas that I have? So it was very stereotypical and weird and disrespectful to African culture. And I decided, okay, let's make this guy like the Don Ho of the place. Let's give him suits. Let's laugh with him and not at him. Let's not laugh at the culture. Let's all of us laugh together. And it changed the whole dynamic of the movie. And I was so thankful that he let me do that because there are times when, you know, other movies and other projects, they go, nope, that's the way it is. Sorry, buddy.
And then when you shed that responsibility and you make the choice, you said you didn't have a choice within, then you feel shame about that, and then you blame other people. So it just creates this whirlpool of shame where you're like diving down. But it sounds like you're taking like radical accountability for everything in your life, and I think that freaking rules, man.
You know, it took me a while to get to that thing, and it was really a bounce through, you know what I mean? But I'm so thankful I made it through this pop, because I didn't stop.
Yeah.
And I didn't give up. Very hard to do.
Okay, you ready to get to course number 5?
Let's do it.
What course are we on?
I know.
Where are we? I think.
Oh my
I think
God.
when you were 6 years old, the rapture did come. This is either heaven or hell, and I can't.
This is hell. This is hell.
Terry, for course number 5 in your meal from hell, we have the garlic bread, we have the Caesar salad, hand-torn croutons, and then we have the frittata affogato.
Affogato. As a kid, what comes second, very, very closely second, and almost went to the top was pizza. Pizza, bro. Like, I could eat 2 large pizzas with everything all on my own. When my father, he was a big gambler, right? Oh my God, this is so good. He was a big gambler. So, you know, you normally lose more than you win. But occasionally he would win, and he would come home, and it was one of the happiest days of my life. Meaning, he would have money, he would wake us all up. Oh, let me get some of this garlic bread.
Please, man. You combine this all, it just turns into pizza.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. And he would bring home 2 large pizzas. And we would be up at midnight, and we'd be eating that pizza, and he'd be stacking his money on the table, and my mother, listen, my mother and father, that's the first time I ever saw them kiss.
Really?
Like, in love. And I was going, whoa. Like, that's just like on TV. That's what I was saying in my head.
Yeah.
I realized, because, I mean, I would live on pizza in college and the whole thing, but you realize, oh my God, I can't eat pizza all the time.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight and the whole thing. This frittata changed my life.
It's a high-protein pizza.
Because it's the flavors are all there, but instead of a bready crust, it's egg.
Yeah.
And the frittata, if you gotta have a little bread and a little thing that really cut it, you get the garlic bread right in there. Oh my God. And the Caesar salad.
Classic. More cheese.
More
But
cheese.
vegetables. It's good for
It's
you.
veggies, man. It's lettuce.
Your mom was a big sweepstakeser, right? So it was like that you got a lot of your morality from movies because everywhere you looked around yourself as a kid, you're like, well, I know what Elder Jones is doing behind the church, so I can't get it from there.
Yep.
What movie do you think had the strongest impression on your moral code as an adult?
You know what? Star Wars.
Yeah?
Star Wars. Because it was about evil, it was about good.
My dumb ass
And I'll never forget.
I said, okay,
like,
that's
even with
real.
Empire Strikes Back, and it was almost like finding the goodness in things that you wouldn't find. Like Yoda was a joke at first. You thought Yoda was a cartoon character. You're like, oh, he's cute, he's silly, he's silly. He was the wisest one. When Yoda got in his power, when Luke's ship is all bogged in the swamp, and then Yoda sticks his 3 fingers out there, and it raises up. I get emotional now, dude.
Yeah.
I get emotional about that because it's like, look at his power. And you start to learn about being good and,
You're talking.
you didn't really die. I get choked up because it's like, I truly believe in my heart that no one ever really dies. Our spirits are never dead. Our spirits have always been here. So we just move to another state, move to the next thing. And it supplants all that fear and scary, oh, what's going on, into a whole nother thing for me. And again, not like Star Wars is real, but it gave me a lesson. And wait a minute, we are here.
Yeah.
When my mom passed away, I could feel her. You know what I mean? I know she's proud of me. I know she's looking and she's watching. And she's in a better place. And she knows more than ever now. You know what I mean? Because all has been revealed to her, and we're all gonna eventually get there. So I don't fear moving to the next level. And I think Star Wars did a great job of just putting that morality in a picture so that we can understand it. Learned to be a lot more gentle with it, because my mother did a lot to survive.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of anger that she took out on us. My mother would tell me, I hate your daughter. I hate her. I wish she was dead. She used to say stuff like that. And we'd be like, yeah, can you pass the bread, please? You know what I mean? Yeah, thank you. And she would be like, I hate him. And we'd be like, okay, but... And so that's why it was like, we knew she was mad. And we knew she was angry. And then she would take it out on us sometimes until as an adult. And after therapy, just like I had to confront my dad, I had to go to my mother.
Yeah.
I said, with that, the stuff you did, that wasn't right. And she said, I know. And she tried to deny it. And I was like, no, that happened.
Yeah.
And then finally she said, you know what, I'm sorry. And this is one thing I tell my kids, because I didn't do everything perfect. You look back and you go, oh man, I wish I could redo that, I wish I could redo that. But this is a wonderful thing about life, that as an adult, I pass you your life, the deed to your life, but it comes as is, like a house. Like if the basement's leaking, sorry about that, but it's your basement now. Oh man, the roof needed repairing. What happens is everybody goes back to their parents and be like, this roof is leaking, and the basement flooded. And you can talk all that you want, but the previous owner is done. You bought it. It's your life. It's up to you to fix.
It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility now.
Same thing, right. Listen, as sad as all these things I've been talking about, I
bad.
can't blame one thing in my life today that happens right now on my father or my mother. I am 100% responsible. It's because of my choices.
Yeah.
It's me. And it helps. Because you go, if you don't like something, change it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be scared anymore. It's over.
Yeah.
Because if we were going to continue a relationship, I had to talk to her. I had to really break it down. And we did. We came to a really, really good settlement. Like just of all how we were going to be all the way until she passed. And I love her to this day, man. And I'm very thankful. But I know I was given a deed to my life as is. I can't blame them for any of this stuff. It's a matter of just like, it's up to me. It's up to you to find out what the differences are and how to change those things that you need to correct.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Terry, as
Woo!
the meat sweats rain upon us, we got the final course of your final meal, the classic double cheeseburger, a little bit of pickles, some special sauce,
Yes.
American cheese on that squishy bun. We got the fresh French fries, and then we got a strawberry shake.
Oh my God,
And
my
thank you
God,
so
thank you,
much.
thank you. But now, let's talk about this.
The shake's so good, your eyes cross a little bit.
Oh, so good.
man.
Oh, these hot, fresh fries. And then the cheeseburger with the special sauce, double.
Uh-oh.
If you won't get messy, you ain't eating it right. I remember spending my whole allowance going to get a cheeseburger, fries, and a shake. And I'm gonna tell you this, and this is a real big, deep confession. Remember I told you my mother hated my dad? Mm-hmm. She cooked like she hated him.
Intentionally or?
Intentionally. There would be something boiling on the stove, and you'd be like, what is that? Like there's a bone sticking out of, and he wanted it with rice. And she's like, I remember he'd go to work at 1, and we would go there, and he was like, oh, this is so horrible. And then she'd make herself a whole nother meal at night herself. I'm serious.
That's the long psychological
and
game,
doing all
man.
that. I'm like, oh, and then we wake up like, I smell something. Go back to bed. Shut up. So, what I would do, and when I got to the age when I was a teen, and I could do lawns. We used to shovel snow, but there was a place down the street. And me and my best friend, we would go get these double cheeseburgers, fresh fries, and a shake. You know, it was like a mom pop spot. I don't even remember the name of it because I know I ate good when I had a double cheeseburger. Fries, and a shake.
I can no longer tell if you've died and we've gone to hell, or maybe I've died and gone to hell. Because I've eaten so much that I'm hallucinating that I'm eating a cheeseburger with President Dwayne Elizondo, Mountain Dew, Herbert Camacho. I'm freaking out a little bit. Monday Night Football, Chargers versus Colts. You hit a man so hard that you knocked yourself out, and you said that while you were knocked out, that was the most peaceful you'd ever been, like you were back in the womb.
It was wonderful.
Do you think that's what death is gonna be like?
Yeah, listen, I've never been high. I've never been drunk. I don't drink. No alcohol, no drugs, never been high in my life. That was bliss. I remember, because your body just...
That's cool.